We're diving into the mystery, rarity, and shocking value of the 1971 George Washington silver quarter dollar. This isn't a myth. This isn't a collector's dream. This is real. And if you own this coin, your life could change overnight. Let's rewind the clock. The year is 1971. Gas is 36 cents a gallon, Nixon is in office, and millions of quarters are being minted in Denver, Colorado, marked with the letter D. Nothing unusual, or so it seemed. Most quarters that year were made from copper-nickel. But a few mysterious specimens, and we mean very few, were struck using silver planchets, leftover blanks from the 1960s. These were supposed to be extinct by 1970. Yet somehow, a few slipped through. A silver quarter disguised as a regular one. And it's this exact error, this numismatic miracle, that has collectors and investors going wild. So yes, Grandma's jar of just-in-case quarters might actually be your secret retirement plan. Who knew she was a financial genius? But before you start rating the couch cushions, you need to know exactly what to look for. The 1971 silver quarter is rare, but not impossible to find. And here's the kicker, people have found them, without knowing for years. First, check the weight. A silver quarter weighs about 6.25 grams, compared to 5.67 grams for a standard clad version. That tiny difference? Worth hundreds of thousands. Next, look at the coin's edge. A genuine silver quarter has a solid silver edge, with no copper streaks. If it looks like one solid color all the way through, you may just be holding history in your hand. Now ask yourself, when was the last time you actually looked at the edge of a coin? Be honest. Never? Exactly. Finally, sound matters. Silver coins have a distinct ring when dropped gently on a hard surface. If you hear a high-pitched chime, don't ignore it, it might just be your future calling. In recent auctions, one confirmed 1971 silver quarter sold for $685,000, and experts believe it's just the beginning. Demand is growing. And the more time passes, the rarer these coins become. But here's the thing, holding on to the coin may not be your best move. Why? Let's talk about that. Right now, the rare coin market is exploding. Boomers are downsizing. Collectors are aging. And younger investors? They're chasing hard assets, like rare coins. Don't clean it. Don't throw it on eBay $4.50. And definitely don't sell it to the pawn shop on Main Street. Instead, have it professionally graded by PCGS or NGC. A certified grade boosts value exponentially. And then? You can either sell it at auction, or hold it as a wealth asset. Think of it like a fine wine. But instead of aging in a cellar, it's aging in your sock drawer. Weird, but profitable. Collectors are hunting for these coins right now. The window is open. But like all rare assets, it will close. And when it does, you don't want to be the one who says, "I had one of those, once." So, could your next vacation home, luxury car, or early retirement be sitting in a coin jar, waiting to be discovered? You'll never know unless you look. The difference between an ordinary quarter and an extraordinary future is just a little knowledge and a lot of curiosity. If you found this video valuable, subscribe for more rare coin revelations, hidden treasures, and ways to turn old metal into serious money. We're diving into the mysterious 1990 mint mark George Washington quarter. This unassuming silver coin is flipping the world of numismatics upside down, and people just like you are turning pocket change into a wealthy lifestyle. Stay with me till the end, because I'll reveal the #1 mistake people make when trying to sell coins like this, and how you can avoid leaving six figures on the table. Let's rewind the clock. It's the early 90s. Grunge is in. The Berlin Wall has just come down. And the US Mint in Denver quietly produces a coin that, 3 decades later, would be worth a small fortune, insert soft vintage B-roll of 1990s American life, old cars, family gatherings, coin machines. The 1990 D Mint Mark George Washington quarter wasn't supposed to be special. In fact, it was printed by the millions. But among the ordinary lies the extraordinary. And no, it's not because George Washington was blinking in this one, although that would be worth even more. Rare planchet errors, extremely limited silver misstrikes, and one variant with an off-centered die that experts call a unicorn among quarters. One verified 1990 D quarter with a rare silver composition recently sold for $685,000 at auction. That's not a typo. That's $500,000, for a coin you might be ignoring in your kitchen drawer. Fear plus excitement. How many of us have tossed away a fortune, without even knowing it? Let's get into the anatomy of this millionaire quarter. Metallic clink of coin flipping. The typical 1990 D quarter is made of a copper-nickel clad composition. But some were mistakenly struck on a silver planchet, the same used for special proof coins. Only a handful have ever surfaced. And these coins? They're like lottery tickets. But here's the catch, and unlike the lottery, this one doesn't come with a cheesy commercial or a guy in a tux screaming numbers at you. What gives it value isn't just age, it's a mix of rarity, condition, minting error, and the eye appeal. A coin in pristine condition, graded MS 67 or higher, can fetch hundreds of thousands. Now you're probably thinking, okay, but how do I know if mine is worth anything? Is the strike off-centered or doubled? Is the edge smooth instead of reeded? If even one of these lines up, you might be holding a rare, multi-$100,000 coin. But here's the truth, these coins are being snapped up fast by collectors and investors. If you wait too long, your opportunity may pass you by. And speaking of selling, Act 3 is where most people make a mistake that costs them millions over time. Don't make it that you found the coin. You've done the research. Now what? Here's where dreams either come true, or crash and burn. Selling to a local pawn shop without a coin grading report. Send your coin to a certified grading service, like PCGS or NGC. This gives it a grade, verifies authenticity, and instantly boosts its value. Auctioning too early, or to the wrong crowd. Use exclusive numismatic auction houses, like Heritage or Stack's Bowers, who market directly to high-end collectors. That's where the $685,000 sale happened. Don't sell a diamond at a yard sale. Unless you enjoy getting paid in hot dogs and old DVDs. If your coin grades high enough, buyers will fly across the country to get it. And yes, some even pay in Bitcoin. Right now, somewhere in America, someone is unknowingly holding a quarter that could change their life. Maybe it's you. Maybe it's in your childhood piggy bank, or a roll of coins from the bank. So here's what you do next: check your 1990 D quarters, get them weighed and authenticated. Don't sell a dime until it's graded. And if you want to know the next coin that's quietly gaining six-figure attention, subscribe and hit the bell icon, because in our next video, we're uncovering the ghost quarter that's already broken $1 million bid. What if I told you, there might be a coin sitting in your kitchen drawer, worth more than your car, your home, or even your retirement savings? Yes, one coin. In fact, a specific 1993 D Mint George Washington silver quarter recently made headlines, fetching a jaw-dropping $685,000 at auction. And here's the kicker, these coins are hiding in plain sight. So, are you sitting on a fortune without even knowing it? Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to identify this ultra-rare quarter, and possibly turn loose change into life-changing wealth. Let's rewind the clock to 1993, gas was $1.11 a gallon, Bill Clinton was president, and the U.S. Mint quietly released a standard run of George Washington quarters from the Denver Mint. But there was a problem. Or rather, a miracle. Some of these quarters were accidentally struck on silver planchets. Rare blanks typically reserved for special commemorative coins, and that's where the legend of the 1993 D silver quarter begins. Experts estimate fewer than 10 exist. One surfaced at auction, and with collectors practically foaming at the mouth, it sold for a mind-boggling $685,000. That's the kind of coin that can rewrite your financial story. when was the last time you looked at your change and thought, hey, this might pay off my mortgage? Yeah. Me neither. Until now. Here's what separates this $685,000 quarter from the 25-cent coin in your laundry room. Look for the letter D under the eagle on the reverse side. It stands for the Denver Mint. Regular quarters from 1993 are copper nickel. But these rare ones? 90% silver. A standard 1993 quarter weighs 5.67 grams. The silver one? Around 6.25 grams. Yes, every gram counts. Grab a magnifier. If you don't see the copper sandwiching on the edge, you might just be holding silver. But here's where it gets even more insane. Some of these coins were never circulated, hidden away in rolls or forgotten collections, and they can look brand new. Imagine finding one. Imagine cashing it in. Imagine what you'd do with that kind of money. So why does this coin matter now more than ever? Because silver coin values are rising fast, collector demand is skyrocketing, and the numismatic world is on fire. Most people will never know they're holding treasure. You need to check your stash today, not tomorrow, not when you get around to it. This isn't just about making money, it's about recognizing an opportunity when it comes knocking, and seizing it. You just spent 10 minutes looking at coins and learned something cool. Best case? You're the next person cashing out with 6 figures and sipping coffee on a beachfront balcony. Your story doesn't have to be ordinary. Sometimes, all it takes is one forgotten coin. So go look. Search the drawers, the boxes, the jars in the garage. That dusty quarter might just hold your next chapter. The top 3 other quarters from the 1990s worth over $50,000, and the one mistake that could cost you a fortune. And hit that bell icon. You won't want to miss what's next. What if I told you the small change rattling around in your junk drawer could be your retirement plan? Yes, a simple quarter, specifically, the 1967 no-mint mark George Washington silver quarter, has stunned collectors, with one recently valued at a jaw-dropping $685,000. And believe it or not, that's not even the craziest part. Makes you want to check your couch cushions now, doesn't it? Stay with me, because in the next 10 minutes, I'll reveal why this coin is making millionaires, how to know if you have one, and what to do if you do, before it's too late. A forgotten fortune, 0:30 to 3 o'clock, the year is 1967. America is booming. The Beatles are playing, the Vietnam War is raging, and no one's thinking twice about the quarters in their pocket. But what most people didn't realize was this: amidst the millions of coins minted that year, a tiny batch of Washington quarters escaped the usual process, and were struck in 90% silver, by accident. These rare coins carry no mint mark, and today, collectors are scrambling to find them. Most were spent, lost, or melted down. So the few survivors? Well, they're not just rare, they're treasures. Fast forward to today, one of these coins, authentic, verified, and graded, sold for $685,000. That's more than the average house in America. But how can you tell if your 1967 quarter is the $1 million kind? That's where the real story begins. Now let's get into the details. What makes this coin so valuable? Composition. By 1965, the U.S. Mint officially stopped using silver in quarters. But due to machinery overlap or human error, some 1967 quarters were accidentally struck on leftover silver planchets. A regular 1967 quarter weighs 5.67 grams. A silver one? Around 6.25 grams. Slightly heavier, but it's the difference between change and a game changer. Think of it like dating: sometimes what looks average on the outside has hidden value. These rare quarters have no mint mark, meaning they were struck in Philadelphia. Combine that with a silver planchet, and you've got an ultra-rarity. That's the 1-2 punch collectors dream of. No mint mark, and made of silver. Even if you have the right coin, condition matters. One in near-perfect condition, graded MS-67 or above, can fetch hundreds of thousands. Now, you might be thinking, okay, I might have one of these, but what do I do with it? We're getting to that. But first, Let's talk about the most famous 1967 quarter ever discovered, and how a man turned pocket change into a fortune overnight. In 2021, a coin dealer at a small-town estate sale discovered a dusty roll of quarters. Among them, a 1967 no-mint mark silver quarter, in mint condition. It went to auction, and sold $4,685,000. Now here's the scary part, the previous owner had no idea what they had. They almost spent it on a soda. Imagine handing over nearly $750,000 for a Mountain Dew. Here's what that story tells us: wealth isn't always earned, it's recognized. And sometimes, it's sitting right in front of you. What you should do today: look through your old jars, drawers, and inherited coin collections, weigh your 1967 quarters, use a precise digital scale. Look for 6.25 grams, inspect the edges. Silver quarters have solid, clean edges. No copper rings. Use reputable services like PCGS or NGC. This makes or breaks your coin's value. Get an expert appraisal first. You could be sitting on more than you think. The wealthy don't wait for opportunity, they look for it in unusual places. Like old coin jars. So what's stopping you? One small step today could unlock a fortune tomorrow. Check those coins. Get them appraised. Because stories like this aren't fairy tales, they're undervalued realities. Click the link in the description to download a free checklist of 5 rare quarters worth over $100,000, including how to spot them. And if you've got something special, I'll show you how to get it appraised without getting ripped off. Your future doesn't have to be built from scratch. It could be built from silver, one quarter at a time. We're diving deep into the 1996 D. George Washington silver quarter, a coin that's shockingly flipping its way into millionaires' hands. Some call it a collector's dream, others call it dumb luck. But what if I told you it could be your ticket to a life you never imagined? Let me tell you a story. In 2023, a retired factory worker from Ohio was cleaning out his garage. He finds a dusty box of coins he hadn't looked at in over 20 years. Inside? A 1996 D quarter, but not just any quarter. He sends it for appraisal, thinking it might be worth $5, maybe $10. A week later, the call comes in. The appraiser is whispering. Heart racing. That 25-cent coin? It's worth 6 figures. And that man? He never worked another day in his life. Now you might be thinking, why this quarter? Let's break it down. First, it's a Denver Mint Mark quarter, but what makes it valuable is a combination of ultra-rare mint errors, accidental silver planchets, and incredibly preserved conditions. It's like winning the coin lottery, but only if you know what to look for. Think of it like finding a Picasso at a garage sale. Most people wouldn't even notice, especially when it looks like every other quarter in your pocket change. And here's the kicker: most of these valuable quarters are being spent at gas stations or dropped in vending machines every single day. You could be giving away $685,000 without even knowing it. So, how do you know if your 1996 D quarter is the jackpot? A rare mint error led to a few 1996 quarters being struck on silver planchets meant for commemorative coins. If your quarter has a slightly different shine, heavier weight, and a cleaner ring when dropped, that's clue number 1. Proof-like finish. Some high-grade quarters from that year have a mirror-like finish, thanks to a unique polishing process. They shouldn't exist, but they do. Coins graded MS 67 and higher can fetch astronomical prices, especially if they're untouched by circulation. And the highest known value? A 1996 D quarter sold in a private auction for a jaw-dropping $685,000. That's not a typo. But wait, it gets better. Because some experts believe there are still dozens, maybe hundreds, of these quarters out there, hiding in plain sight. So next time your kid asks for a quarter for the gumball machine, maybe don't be so generous. Here's the truth. Every single day, people are cashing in on forgotten coins. Not because they're lucky, but because they paid attention. You might have coins from your parents, your grandparents, coins you've never thought twice about. But with the right knowledge and timing, those same coins could fund your dreams. What would you do with an extra $685,000? Pay off debt? Travel the world? Finally retire early? Or maybe, just breathe a little easier. But here's the twist, these coins are being discovered less and less every year. The window is closing. Collectors are scooping them up. And once they're gone, they're gone. So here's what I want you to do: check your coin jars, your drawers, your piggy banks. Pull out every 1996 quarter. Look for that little D mint mark. Check the weight, the shine, the condition. Because that quarter collecting dust right now could be your golden, or rather silver, ticket to a new life. And in our next video, we're revealing the top 5 other US quarters worth over $100,000, and you definitely want to make sure you're not spending those by accident. Imagine stumbling across a small, silver quarter in your junk drawer, and realizing it's worth more than a fully loaded Tesla. That's not fantasy. That's the reality behind a rare 1978 D-mint George Washington $quarter coin, and right now, one of these exact coins is being valued at a staggering $685,000 in the current collector's market, yes, for a single quarter. Still think that spare change jar is just holding coffee money? Think again. We're about to dive into a story of hidden fortune, one that begins in the most unexpected place, your pocket change. The 1978 D-mint George Washington quarter doesn't look special. It wasn't minted as a commemorative, it didn't come in a fancy case, and it wasn't made to stand out. But that's exactly what makes it a ticking treasure. You see, there was a mistake. A rare batch of quarters that were struck in 90% silver instead of the usual copper-nickel blend, likely the result of leftover silver planchets from previous minting years being used at the Denver Mint. This anomaly created a financial unicorn, and most Americans tossed it away without ever knowing. And here's where it gets real. One of these silver-struck 1978 D quarters sold at a private auction recently for a jaw-dropping $685,000. Let that sink in. 25 cents, turned into nearly $750,000. Now the real question becomes, could you be sitting on one of these? Suddenly that random change you used for a vending machine soda in 2009 seems like a terrible financial decision, huh? So what makes this coin so valuable? Let's break it down. Rarity. Only a tiny handful of these silver planchet errors made it out of the mint alive. Fewer still remain in pristine condition. Mint mark. The Denver D mint on a 1978 quarter is already uncommon in silver. Combine that with high-grade preservation and you've got collector catnip, historical anomaly. The silver quarters were not supposed to exist in 1978, silver had been phased out from general circulation quarters by 1965. This makes it what numismatists call a transitional error, a holy grail in the coin world. And then there's grade. If your quarter is rated MS67 or higher by PCGS or NGC, you're potentially holding a multi-six-figure treasure. Now think about it, how many coins have you handled in your life? Hundreds? Thousands? What if just one of those was the key to a different lifestyle, a new home, a debt-free life, or that early retirement dream you've been putting off? In just a moment, I'll tell you exactly what to look for: the weight, the sound, even the feel of a genuine silver-struck 1978 quarter, and how to avoid the fakes. Alright. You're probably wondering, okay, but how do I know if I've got the real thing? A silver quarter weighs around 6.25 grams, compared to 5.67 grams for a standard clad quarter. A real silver quarter will have a solid silver edge, no copper strip visible. Silver rings differently. Drop it gently on a hard surface, a high-pitched ring could mean real silver. Look for the D mark on the front, to the right of Washington's ponytail. Even if it looks right, you'll need authentication. Have it professionally graded and certified. That's what separates $25 from $685,000. Or you could trade it for a latte at Starbucks, your call. And don't wait. As more of these coins are discovered and hit the market, the rarity decreases, and so might the value. Collectors are on the hunt, and time is your most valuable asset right now. Go. Check your coins, look in your change jar, that old shoebox, or the drawer you haven't opened since Y2K. Because if you find that rare 1978D silver quarter, the one worth nearly $700,000, your life could change overnight. And in our next video, we're revealing 3 more coins from the 70s and 80s that are quietly selling for 6 figures, and most people are spending them without knowing. Imagine walking into your garage, brushing dust off an old coffee tin, only to find a coin worth nearly $700,000. Yes, you heard that right, this isn't a fantasy. It's happening to ordinary Americans, just like you, who unknowingly hold a 1979D mint mark George Washington silver quarter dollar, a coin that, under the right conditions, could fund your retirement, pay off your mortgage, or even buy your dream vacation home. And yet, most people will toss it into a vending machine. Are you about to make the most expensive mistake of your life? Let's rewind the clock. The year is 1979. The BGs are still topping charts, gas is 86 cents a gallon, and the U.S. Mint in Denver is quietly producing what would become one of the most sought-after error coins in American history. Now, here's the twist: this coin wasn't supposed to be silver. In fact, by 1979, the U.S. had fully transitioned to copper-nickel-clad quarters. But a minting anomaly, some call it a government oversight, produced a small number of quarters on leftover 90% silver planchets. You had one job, mint guy. One job, and your mistake might just make someone a millionaire. What makes these quarters so rare is the combination of the Denver D mint mark, the silver composition, and unusual die errors, like misstrikes, double dies, or off-center strikes. Most people have no idea they're holding onto one. Coming up, I'll show you exactly how to identify one, and the one critical detail that could turn a 25-cent coin into a $685,000 jackpot. Meet Linda, a retired schoolteacher from Ohio. She found an old box of change in her attic, one of which was a 1979 quarter that felt heavier. She almost spent it on a soda, but paused. Turns out, her quarter had a subtle, shiny edge, a telltale sign of silver. She had it appraised. Result? $423,000 at auction, all because she stopped, looked closer, and asked one question: could this be one of those rare ones? Now think about this. How many times have you let change pile up in a drawer? How many quarters have slipped through your fingers that could have changed your life? And honestly, when's the last time you checked the edges of your quarters? Be honest. So what exactly should you look for? Look for the small d just to the right of Washington's ponytail. Silver quarters have a cleaner, mirror-like luster and lack the orangish copper ring on the edge. Silver quarters weigh around 6.25 grams, compared to the standard 5.67 grams. Look for off-center images, double stamping, or missing details. But here's the thing: even if your coin checks all these boxes, there's one last test it must pass to be worth over $600,000. And most people miss it. I'll tell you what that is in just a moment. The final piece of the puzzle? Grading and authentication. That's right. Unless your coin is certified by a top agency like PCGS or NGC, collectors won't take your word for it, and if it's graded MS 67 or higher, that's when we're talking serious money, $685,000 plus. But time is not your friend. With each passing year, these coins vanish from circulation, lost to vending machines, coin rolls, and collectors who do know their value. This isn't just about a quarter. It's about seizing a moment, uncovering forgotten value, and unlocking the wealth hidden in plain sight. So here's what you do right now: grab your old change jars, shoeboxes, and sock drawers, set aside every 1979 quarter you find, especially those with the D mint mark. Weigh them. Inspect the edges. Compare the shine. If you suspect you have something special, get it appraised professionally, and no, Google Lens isn't going to cut it here. This isn't identifying a houseplant, it's potentially identifying a retirement fund. You're not just looking for coins. You're looking for keys to a future of freedom, abundance, and legacy, because the only thing rarer than this coin is the person who actually checks that if this video opened your eyes. Don't stop here, subscribe now, because we're uncovering even more hidden gems in everyday American coins. And the next one could be in your pocket. Hit the bell icon to never miss a chance like this again. And drop a comment below, I'm checking my change. You might just be the next story we feature. Want me to format this for teleprompter style reading or add visual cue suggestions for your video editing, like zooms, sound effects, B-roll ideas, etc.?